Hello everybody, I'm Steve and welcome to Green Side Up. It feels like ages since I've been in here, and yeah, I've noticed the growth. It's putting on its last sort of flush of the year, I think. Anyway, there's some jobs that need to be done. The day before yesterday, on the Friday, we went down to see my parents down country, and we hadn't seen them since before lockdown. The very first one, so it's about 18 months nearly, getting on for 2 years since we've seen them. So that was a lovely day, but it wasn't without its issues, if you like. I live in Cumbria here, so it's a very rural place, and normally sort of 2 tractors in a line is a traffic jam here for us. But we hit 2 momentous traffic jams going down the country from here. And we were just sat in them for hours, and then to cap it all, we had lunch out, and very safely, all that sort of stuff, and I broke a tooth as well up here, so I've got to go to the torture chamber. I've got to go to the dentist to get that sorted out. Don't worry, there's no pain, there's nothing like that, it just needs sorting out. So yeah, it wasn't the best day, and of course the van that we use, that's got an engine management problem. The engine light was on all the way there or back. It's probably just a sensor, but you never know, so we were taking it easy and being worried about that. So it was quite a busy day in comparison to the last 18 months where everyone's been quiet and sat at home and safe and cuddled up and that. So it was a bit of an eventful day for us, really. But anyway, it's back to the plot now to get things sorted out. And I'm going to start today with sweetcorn. We've been eating that for a couple of weeks now, so it's time for the rest of it to come up and be processed. So we'll get on with that now. So I'll just give you a quick overview outside, just so you can see it. It's a little bit taller than me, so it's about 7 foot tall. It's done really well. But I'll get you set up now for a picking. So I've got a nice big tray, and it's just a case of a short, sharp. You can see where I've been picking it from. Short, sharp jerk off away from the stem of the plant, and they come away nicely. Take off some of the excess. And what we'll do with these, I say we've been eating them for a couple of weeks now. We'll, me and Anne, we have a couple each when we do have them, and we'll have some tonight. And we'll do that for the next couple of 3 days. But all the rest will be processed, and by that I mean they'll either be blanched and frozen, or they'll be blanched, and then I'll cut the kernels off the cob and store that as basically as sweet corn kernels. So we've got a veg we can add later through the winter. So I'll leave some in the fridge, and we'll have a couple each every day for the next 2 or 3 days, and the rest will get processed. It's been a good crop this year. There's still plenty on. Just move that slightly. It's very satisfying getting crops out like this. Yeah, we're going to have lots to store, which is fantastic. And you know when they're ready, because all these tassels at the end turn sort of a browny black. There we go, hitting that tip. Oh no, there's another one. Right, so that's it. I've picked all these cobs now. These beds are now ready for clearing, possibly reuse. And here's all the cobs. There's about 50 of them there, so that's pretty good. Now indoors, inside the big tunnel, I've got two big tomato beds, one up there and this one in front of me. And these are 9 foot long by 6 foot wide. And I layered tomatoes in these at the back, all the way up both beds at the back. I've got the Crimson Crush plants, my sort of favourites. No sign of blight on them, which is what you want. That's what they are, blight resistant. And at the front, along the front of both beds, I've got Ildy tomatoes. Now they're also a very early cropping, the same as the Crimson Crush. But they haven't done so well, the Ildy, and I think, or I mentioned in other videos earlier this year, that it was because with this tunnel being so long and being right in the middle of the plot and a door at either end, I've tended to use this as a corridor every morning when I'm down here, open up the doors to get through, get to the back of the plot and back to the front. And I think that's lessened the humidity in here. I did try a mini experiment by over wetting the front of the area, and it did get some of them starting to fruit. As you can just see down here, we did get some fruit on, but the rest of them, I've said they've been in months and there should be a 55-day crop. So I'm going to whip them out, all of the Ildies, and see where we're at. So all these front tomatoes, it's the same down here. There's two plants here, but look at the flowers on that, and I don't think they're going to do anything now. And I'd rather reclaim the ground for other uses, to be honest, and start peeling back. Lesson learned. I know now that my new tunnel at the back of the plot is the place to grow tomatoes, and we'll exploit that next year. I'm still going to grow these Ildies, very impressed with them, but I think in a warmer, more humid climate they will do a lot better. And also, just a final point, this bed up here, I made no dig this year, and the next bed down is a traditional dig bed. And the only difference that I've noticed this season is that when I was planting the tomatoes in the dig bed, it was a big deep hole with loads of compost in to grow the plants, whereas here in a no dig bed, I just pulled the compost to one side and planted the plants. So it was a lot less work with the no dig bed. There has been a few weed issues, but in the no dig bed, but only because all the compost I used on there were from either old baskets and tubs or my own homemade compost, and you tend to get a lot more weed seed in it. And but the end result is that this will still be a no dig bed next year, whereas that will still be a traditional no dig bed unless I change it. So I'll still have the same amount of work to do. So overall, the no dig bed has saved me work and effort. It's minimal, but I haven't noticed any difference really other than that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these trusses off that have the tomatoes on them, and I can pick them at my leisure at home. There we go. There's not many, but they'll do. So now we'll start stripping these layers back of the plants and start to get rid. I've no doubt I will put you on fast forward when I get home.
Won't you pour me another? I'm going in, so wish me good luck. Yeah, I gotta put on my favorite song. I need a boost. Let's turn up the love. No, it is way too late, but I just can't get my eyes off you. Maybe we will regret this, but tomorrow is is another day. And I will do anything to get your love. Hey, won't you pour me another? I'm going in, so wish me good luck. Yeah, gotta put on my favorite song. I need a boost. Let's turn up the love, because it's on. Ooh, ooh, keep my fingers crossed. Oh yeah, it's on. Ooh, ooh, let's turn up the love.
Now this little area was planted up in spring, and there's a courgette there in the middle, and normally they do reasonable for me in the polytunnel. I get lots of fruit, but I haven't had much fruit. It's been mostly growth. But look at these leaves. These are just ridiculous. Very tropical. So I've just let it grow because it looks wonderful. But I've got my peppers either side, and they've done well. And they're another heat loving plant. And I've got fruit on them. I mean, you can see down there's a couple of small ones there. I've had a lot of fruit off them, and there's some more over here. These will all be coming out in there over the next couple of weeks, I would think. But I also put one here at the end of this bed. If I'll just walk backwards, you can see I'm right at the end of the polytunnel. Here's the doorway in. Just to see, I put that in on purpose there, right at the end, just to see if it would cope well with the relative draft that comes in through the door, especially when the door at the other end's open, because the wind sort of whistles through and brings the temperature right down. And I thought it would shrivel up and die, to be honest, but it hasn't. It's flourished, which is kind of baffling. I mean, we have got fruit on here, fruit down here, and it's now full. The top of it is all full of flowers. So I don't know about this, but it's done okay. We did have one big branch break off, which was on this sort of side as well, so another great big clump of it. So it's absolutely thrived there, and I can't really explain it, but it seems to do okay in a draft. Maybe because the draft is warmer, I don't know. But I just expected it to confirm my belief that the plant would just fail there. But anyway, not to worry. It was a test, and it's kind of worked, I suppose. So anyway, all those LD tomatoes are out now. It's looking a bit clearer in here now. And just I'm looking at the Crimson Crush plants. This one's a bit shriveled up. I think I'm going to take these out as well. I mean, I've still got fruit on these here, quite low down. There's unripe fruit higher up. I know why that's there, because the canopy of the grapevine has shielded it and stopped them ripening. But I'll take them home and ripen them on the windowsill. All the red ones on this side, they're all long gone. I mean, they're just inside the door, so they were handy and easy to grab. So yeah, I'm going to take them all down, take the cane structure down as well, and we'll have a bit of a clean start. So all the tomatoes are out now. I've just got a couple of cucumbers down this end and one down the other end, which I'm going to leave in for a little bit longer. We're still eating salads, still picking, so yeah, well, I'll just leave those in for now. But what I am going to do is take these structures down, these Bridge on the River Kwai structures, and you can see up here what I've used to secure them is some old cable ties. Now these are coloured. When I take this down, I'll keep them all together. I'll actually cable tie them all together and then recycle them, put them through the recycling bin at home. I have previously asked my council, and they've said, yep, no problem, they'll go through the recycling, so all these ties that are used will be recycled, which is great. Now, with the tomatoes out and the structure down, just left a little bit of structure here for these cucumbers to carry on growing, and a bit of an outrider or an outrigger just to support it. We can see the ground underneath, and you may remember these tomatoes up here are planted kale underneath to get them going. Some of them are going quite well, others not so well, because they've been attacked by slugs. And that's evident because I've been watching them, and you see the slimy trails on the leaves. I could have used slug pellets, but I try not to use them if I can help it. Less said about that, the better, really. I don't really like using them, but I will if I really have to. I've got spare plants. I won't be short of plants. I'll just replant where necessary. But over in this bed, it's quite a disaster. This is where I planted the Chinese cabbage, and again, you can see these have been mullered by slugs. You can see what's left here. Not a great deal. But this brings me back to when I was planting them. I also potted some on. I also talked about hedging your bets. I left some seedlings in the ground in the small polytunnel where I sowed them. I planted some behind me and I potted some on. So these are all Chinese cabbage in here and doing wonderfully well. These I'm going to plant in here, and I'm going to plant them in a slightly different way than I did last year, because this is my nemesis Chinese cabbage. I am trying to grow it at the wrong time of year, really. But, you know, I figure undercover, I should be able to do it. So I'll keep trying and I'll find a way to make it grow. But more of that when we get to it. First, I need to dig this bed over, clear it out, clear the tomato roots out. This is still a dig bed, whereas this one is no dig. So I shall dig this one over. And at the other end, I've just left that pepper in on its own, and another cucumber up the end there. They'll come out in the next couple of weeks, but I only need a portion of this bed up here for these Chinese cabbage, so we'll get cracking on that.
One too many, should go home to my bed, sleep it off, but I can't stop believing you're the one I'ma be with tonight. So I will do anything, I will do anything to make you mine. Hey, won't you pour me another? I'm going in, so wish me good luck. Yeah, I gotta put on my favorite song, I need a boost. Let's turn up the love, because it's on.
So that's that sweet corn bed fully exposed now. I've taken the hot boxes off this bed, and these are the lids for them here. But there we go, they're in sections, and that's the next one to come off. But what happens is they're all panelised. I don't know if you can see that there's a separate panel, and there's just a bolt through and a wing nut goes on the back to hold them together. And the one that's come off here there's one side of it. The rest of it now is in here in this land, this ground, where the tomatoes and alleged Chinese cabbage were planted. And this is what I'm going to be doing this winter with them. I'm going to plant these Chinese cabbage I've got up here. These are going in this area, and eventually when the weather cools down later, I'll put the lid on. For the moment, I'll just leave it open, and I'll put the front and the lid just behind, out of way. I'll just let them grow on there, and I'm hoping that will bring these plants on forward towards Christmas, and I can protect them a bit better and hopefully get a crop. So that's the plan this year. Yeah, so I'm pretty hopeful of that, because I have tried to grow them in various beds around the tunnel. And one thing I did notice, that for the last 3 years they've always been down an edge right next to the polytunnel plastic. So over the last 2 or 3 years they were down this side in various beds. Last year they were over there where those kales are now, again next to the edge. But this time I'm trying to grow them in the middle of the polytunnel under protection. We'll see if it makes a difference. I have my doubts, but I'll give it a try, and I'll keep trying until I get it right. So planting this puppy up was a job for tomorrow now. I have run out of time and I've got to get home. So yeah, that's a job for another day. But that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed it today. A lot of clearing and tidying around, a bit of harvesting, a bit of a mishmash of stuff going on today, but I've enjoyed it. It's been great to get stuck into some work again, so really happy with that. So anyway, look after yourselves, take care. I'll see you all very soon, and stay safe. Ta-ra now.